Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of graphing functions and identifying features. This is standard A.3C in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 54 off the 2018 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. So we have 4 lines here, and we simply are looking for the x-intercept and the y-intercept. All right, they don't give us any definitions as to what those actually mean, so we need to define them ourselves. So let's first look at the x-intercept. If we can figure that out, it's probably going to be pretty easy to figure out where our y-intercept is going to be. So the x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis. And so we could say, if we wanted to put some coordinate pair on that one, we could say, you know what, if y is 0, then what's my x? That's the x-intercept. Sometimes we put it as a coordinate pair. Sometimes we'll just note the x-coordinate. This also actually has another term. We also call that the 0, because we're wanting to know what happens when the function, the f of x or the y, equals 0. What is that x value? So we have the y-intercept, and so if our x-intercept is going to be where the line crosses the x-axis, well then, you guessed it, our y-intercept is where our line crosses the y-axis. And so if we want to graph that coordinate pair, we could do it like this. We could say, well, if x is 0, if it's on that y-axis, what's my y? We don't have a special name for that, but we see this quite often when we see our slope-intercept form. It's this b right here, when we have y equals mx plus b. All right, so let's look to see what I'm just going to put our x and our y, and that's just going to stand for our x and our y-intercept for each of these. What we're going to see is we're probably going to see variations here of 5 and 3. Some of them will be correct on the x and y, some of them will be inverted. The x is going to be a 3 and the y is going to be 5, and some will be positive, some will be negative, because when you're doing a multiple choice question, you need 4 possible answers. Only one of them is correct, so the other 3 have to be kind of variations on those. So watch this. So we've got an x-intercept right here of -3, right? So they took the y-intercept, put it over on the x, and then they changed the sign, and then my y is 5. So that's completely opposite of what I'm looking for. Here's what I'm looking for. If I want to make it look the same, I need an x of -5 and a y of 3. So they changed the x and y value and changed the signs, the negative and positive. That's a big no. All right, so what's my x-intercept here? The line crosses right here on my x-axis, -5. Okay, that's looking good. Then it goes up here. Look at that. It crosses the y-axis at a +3. So yeah, that G looks good. I've got an x-intercept, or the 0, or -5, and then a y value of y-intercept of 3. Let's just see what we have for h and j just to make sure. So my x-intercept is a +5. So you notice it's a 5. But instead of being -5, it's a +5. And then I've got an h. In h, I've got my y value. Y-intercept is -3. So the 3 is correct, but instead of being a +3, it's a -3. So that's how they try to trick you. And then finally our j. Let's see, x is going to be +3. So that's the y value. It's the correct sign. And then we've got the y-intercept of -5, which should be my x right there. So they just flip those. So my answer here is G.